Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be doing my April reading wrap up. It is absolutely crazy that it is already May. Yeah, here we go. If you watched my last reading wrap up, you know that I read Magnolia Parks. I thought I was gonna hate, but I ended up loving. So obviously I had to continue the series this month. I read these throughout the month, but we're just going to talk about them all at once so it's easier. A little bit about this series. I can't really tell you guys what the second, third, and fourth book's about because obviously it'll spoil the first one. But the first book is actually about a toxic relationship. And I am not usually one to read toxic relationships or anything like that, but I absolutely love this series and the characters and all of that. It is basically set in high society London. All the characters are loaded and just all that, you know. It's super fun to read about because it's like something you can't really relate to, but it's just like entertaining. This is about different characters than Magnolia Parks is about. You still see some crossover and then you see these characters in the Magnolia Parks books a bit. This is probably my least favorite one out of the series. I ended up giving this a 4 stars, which is still a phenomenal rating, but I just had a hard time getting into this book. And let me just say, the world that these characters are in, I fell in love with the idea of that world. And it made me want to read more books about that type of thing. So yeah. And then after Daisy Hates, you go into Magnolia Parks: A Long Way Home, which this book wins the prettiest cover ever. But this continues the story from the first book, Magnolia Parks. The ending is absolutely brutal, so get the box of tissues ready because you'll need it. I will say with this book, their relationship's toxicity really kind of got to me. Like at some points I was like, just shut up, or just stop. But I still love the characters, so. And then the last book that is out right now is Daisy Hates: The Great Undoing. This is my favorite book out of the series. I will say that. One of the characters in this book I literally love so much. The ending, again, brutal, so get ready. It's kind of a common theme in these books. Just once you get to the few pages left mark, just get ready to cry. And then I continued on with the Shatter Me series. So basically, the Shatter Me series is about Juliet, who has a lethal touch. It's like a dystopian world. This group is taking over, all that. There is aspects of romance in it and really good friendships and all of that. First, I read this one. One thing about this series is the first 3 books are really decent, and then she could have ended the series there. Let's be so real. These ones, the last couple books in the series, they're definitely kind of pushing the drama a little bit. It didn't need to happen. I probably gave this a 3.5 stars. I literally could not tell you a single thing about this book. Yeah. So then I read Shadow Me, and this is about a character that I really liked, so that was interesting. However, kind of all the Shatter Me novellas are kind of pointless. You don't have to read them, although I'd recommend it. It's just kind of repetitive and you'll get the same information in the books. And then Defy Me. These books, once you get to these books in the series and you look back on the first book, you're gonna be in complete shock. The whole entire series takes a complete 180. Literally everything is different. I will say these are super interesting and you definitely do want to understand what happens because it's completely crazy, how she turns the story. And the second one in this, Reveal Me. I think Reveal Me was probably the best novella in this series, or the most entertaining, I guess you could say. But still, again, it's just a short novella, so all of them I gave 2 or 3 stars. And then I read The Housemaid. This is a thriller. I am not usually a super thrillery person. person. I am really not usually into thrillers, but I had seen this one everywhere and it was so good. I probably gave this like a 4 stars, 4.25, something like that. I'm unsure about her name, but she is basically hired to be a housemaid to clean this house, and the house is like kind of clean already, so it's like whatever. Basically, they kind of treat her a little weird, and you just kind of go through that and you figure out more about the main girl's past and what's really going on in the house. So it's super interesting, and this book is so fast paced, you guys. I literally finished this in one day. Every chapter kind of ends with a little cliffhanger or just like something that makes you want to keep reading. And then on my Kindle, I read the second book, which is The Housemaid's Tale, I want to say. This one also super fast paced. Again, she starts another house cleaning job, and again, it's crazy. You're figuring out the person she is cleaning for's life along with her life. Obviously, there's tons of twists and turns and all that, and it is super interesting and crazy.
Hello, it's Editing Caitlin. I forgot to say that I liked the second one a little bit more than the first one. I gave it a 4.5 stars.
And then this book I had not seen anywhere. I just seen it at Barnes one day and picked it up on a whim, and I realized that it was a new release, like it came out super recently. That is Bewitched by Laura Thalassa. I read the back of this and I thought it sounded so interesting. Basically, it's about this girl Celine, and she's a witch, and she's trying to get accepted into this academy for witches, which obviously the magical school thing is fantastic. We absolutely love that. She meets some evil dude, of course, and it said that she was accused for the murders that are happening on campus, and that to me just gave the show Wednesday. It just gave those vibes, so I had to pick this up. And then I picked it up, was so excited for the plot. I got home and it says romance. I'm like, I thought this was just like a fantasy. Like, I didn't know it was a romance categorized. And after reading it, I would not say it's a romance. We'd call it a romantasy. There are definitely aspects of romance in this. However, you get crumbs, literal crumbs. So don't go in expecting to be like a romance. That isn't really the main plot, kind of. There's a lot going on in this book, and it was honestly pretty good. I would give it a 3.5 stars. It ended on like a pretty big cliffhanger, and I wasn't really expecting that. There should be more books coming out in a fat minute, so get excited. The last 2 books I read this year were also on my Kindle. They have gone super viral lately, and that is, I always forget the name. Oh, The Serpent, the Wings, and the Night, right there. So this is by Carissa Broadbent, who is literally all over the internet right now. A lot of people compared this book to ACOTAR. I do not agree with that. It did have a couple similar aspects, but like not many. I gave this book a 4 out of 4 stars. I thought it was fantastic. Basically the premise is Aurea, our main girl, she is a baddie, literally a baddie. And she is going to compete in this kind of Hunger Games like thing, where only one wins and you have to kill your way there, fight things, all that, called the Kahari. There's a smidge of romance. The pacing in this book is fantastic. Usually there's like slow points too fast, or just like information dumping, and in this one there wasn't any of that. Like it flowed so perfectly, and I couldn't really stop reading it because it flowed so well. Like normally if there's a boring point, I'll like set the book down and be like, but it was perfect. So yes. Also in that series, next there is a little novella that you read, Six Scorched Roses. I talked about this earlier with the Shatter Me series. Like the novellas are kind of pointless. Like you don't really need to read them. The information just gets like dumped to you in the first book, in the next book in the series. But this one was actually like a short story, a full book basically, and it was really freaking good. I give this a 3.75 stars just because, again, it was like a novella technically, so like whatever. But it was super good. The characters were actually like fully fleshed out, and the plot was actually decent. These characters also are going to show up in the next book in the series, which is awesome because you actually get like a full background on them and know their full story rather than just like a random novella information dumping. Like, you got a full story with them. So yes. So that was everything I read in the month of April. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and your thoughts on them, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!